We recently threw a super fun event at our Halifax studio called reCONNECT. A few weeks back, my friend Sally, who grew up here in Dartmouth, Nova Scotia, but has lived in Germany for almost 10 years, told me that she was going to be home and asked if I wanted to host an event for our local creative community. I loved the idea and said yes right away, but I was honestly feeling pretty overwhelmed with our current workload and my travel schedule, and I was having a hard time getting truly excited about it. I didn't tell her that, but I'm guessing she could sense it. But once I started digging in though, I kept coming up with new ideas of how to involve more of my creative and entrepreneurial pals here in the city to make this a more dynamic and collaborative event. And I started to get really fired up and motivated to make this a unique night for our friends and for our community. We ended up calling the event, like I said, reCONNECT, with a mission of bringing our community together, fostering new connections, and finding inspiration and just having a good time in a world where some of those things have felt a bit more difficult to do for so many of us. Our talented friend Andrew Ross came by the office late at night, like 2 days before the event, to pick up a piece of plywood and painted a huge and sick event sign for us. We had our friends Brian, Jeremy, and Taylor from Sick Boy Podcast interview local DJ and entrepreneur Swee about his creative journey, about his unique taste and passion for music, and his experience of building community here in Halifax as someone who moved here from China. I interviewed Sally about her 10-year career working as a producer at Puma, working with some of the biggest talents and brands in the world, and about her new venture, Out of Office, where she's curating creative and collaborative women's retreats in Morocco. We made Swee a booth for his setup with all of his old show posters tacked up behind him on the wall, where he played an all-vinyl set and we danced our asses off. His music is so damn cool. In order to try to facilitate vulnerability and new connections, we had a few fun little gimmicks. Sally created these beautiful little cards where she hand wrote a really thoughtful question on one side. It says, "Let's reconnect" on the back here. And she left one on each chair in the crowd, encouraging folks to ask one another these questions as fun little icebreakers. We also had a fun little sticky note wall where we encouraged everyone to share some kind words and intentions. Rachel ended up turning this into a really cool piece of art for our office, which I just thought was sick. Before we started the talks, and this was my favorite part of the whole night, I just asked everyone to look around and to spot one person that they didn't already know and stick out their hand and introduce themselves. I didn't know how it would go and I was a bit nervous, but the room exploded and folks spent a few minutes meeting each other, which I absolutely loved, and I think people really appreciated it. And I think that this was a real testament to how we're all craving more connection, which was really the impetus for this whole night and event. A huge thank you to my dear friend Sally for inspiring this event in the first place and for being such a huge supporter of 365 from day one. She actually interviewed me on her podcast 4 years ago and asked what my biggest dream was, and I said to create a space where we could host collaborative and creative events for our community, so this was pretty damn cool to see this come to fruition. A massive thank you to our team at 365 who busted their asses to set up for this event on top of their already very busy schedules and helped us live up to our company's mission of building community through creativity. These things take a lot of work, but it's such a cool feeling and such a special energy when you work with your community to make something like this happen, and I'm already excited to dream up the next one. Thanks for watching. See you soon.